fascinating figures. The 36 cases that we have reviewed in detail, if we are successful in recoveries, we can retrieve as much as 20.49 billion United States dollars. 20.49 billion United States dollars. 36 cases, and that's from National Cathedral, PDS, SML.
For $1 million.
Yeah, actually $1.2 million.
$1.2 million.
Well, I mean, robbery. I was probably upset, so I probably made it a little bit more harsh than what it was. So when I built this school, you know, I've been going home for the.
Well, Abishia, we breaking news. Ever, Nina say we air from foreign media. Nina said after National Cathedral, $58 million US. Almost two amena. As you see, I'm another swimming pool. Foreign media is maybe issue. I can't say be now. Latest one, everybody said one foreign media also the other two just said after a no cross 58 million. MPP are buying. As said one National Cathedral. There is another 21.1 billion US. 21.1 billion US. Ever amount for ever Ghana ha. Ni na ya MPP abayam. Uncle Fubi Atinaso. Then as 21.1 billion US. Ever amount for. And Obakaya Ghana you call IMF. You call for 3 billion. 3 billion. Meanwhile, as Ghana, you will 21.1 billion US. Ever amount for. Hey, Ghana, that bank, and a Ghana, EBA. So, women said your foreign media. Eka airport to ye. And as already MPP are buying mono so during MPP time. Amount for Juma, Bibrina, SA, amount for Sika Ekamo. But your man penny is Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ebai during the State of the Nation address or the Assembly Etuda. So, or more Musika Aquacum, and I say, dear, or more MPP are buying Eden and two Musika so. Say any other the Bemon, or no John Dramani Mahamani and DC are buying. Obituary winner, the Edia. So, Bekaya, example, Michael Blackson, Ghana near our Tiabo tree, no, see there be, or be investing in Sky or Ghana, or buy as a 1.5 million US or the Shima Ghana. MPP are buying so than a Santos. Nepal or no free America. I be a school free of charge, some amount for color. Our person of war, my Ghana, Yedinsa, Etu Scanoso. Emma, Michael Blackson, Ebu Fue, Eco social media, Twitter, and Sembi na Ekika Life, Emma investors, Grano Mistress on bed on Beba Ghana, but after your man penny, Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Edison, same way to Ghana. Ama I say, be quine. Ama GD Abagana more investors say any fine. See the on Beba. Emma Michael Blackson, Crassi, say the any Obe make sure say Obama investors and I say Obe Bohu de Runa investors Abagana, Abe investing, so the way Ghana, Isika said, ne Ghana, give it to me, acquire him. So the Umeko video, and Brasia, aha, azingatv.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Breakdown. I'm your host, Sandra Bebu Boateng. So a site that was supposed to be a $400 million state-of-the-art national cathedral in Ghana has somehow turned into a public swimming pool. Yeah, you heard that right. I wish I were joking, but I'm not. Today, we're diving into the saga unfolding in Ghana that's exposing corruption on a whole new level. So much so that the current president, John Mahama, has gone as far as calling the country a crime scene. But before we get into the details, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss critical conversations like the one we're about to have. All right. So how did a grand national cathedral project end up as a community splash zone? Let's break it down. This cathedral set on prime real estate just 700 meters from Ghana's parliament, was a flagship initiative of the previous NPP government, led by then President Akufo-Addo. The vision? Well, it was to create a world-class landmark that would boost tourism and put Ghana on the global map.
Paul says in Philippians 4:30, quote, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, unquote. I am firm in my view that by the grace of God and through Christ who strengthens me and my government, all the programs and policies being rolled out, which were once described as overly ambitious and not feasible by some, whether it is a free senior high school, planting for food and jobs, one district, one factory, one village, one badan.
This is azingatv.
And the development of our road and rail infrastructure, amongst others, will be implemented to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. The execution of these policies will help lead us onto the path of progress and prosperity. And through Christ who strengthens us, the National Cathedral will be built to the glory and honor of God. Amen.
But somewhere along the way, things took a turn. Instead, what we've got right now is what looks like the world's most expensive community pool. Because the price tag so far, $58 million. And that's what you're seeing right there, $58 million. See, that's the amount that they say they've spent on the project so far, and that's all of taxpayers' money. How do you spend $58 million and end up with that? Now, fast forward to today. Akufo-Addo's government was voted out last year, and the new administration under President Mahama has launched an investigation into this cathedral. And so hopefully there will be some answers. But the cathedral is just one story, right?
It is common knowledge that our economy is in dire straits, which is putting it mildly, because an initial assessment of the books we have discovered After initial assessment of the books, we have discovered that our economic problems are much deeper than was previously known. We have inherited a country that is broken on many fronts. The profundities of the challenges confronting us are staggering. We are saddled with staggering debts and glaring signs of almost deliberate and, in some cases, reckless mismanagement of our resources. Mr. Speaker, not even the restraints of an IMF program were enough for the previous economic managers to exercise prudence in managing our finances. After setting an inflation target of 18% by the end of 2024, the actual outturn was 23.8%, significantly higher than the threshold agreed with the IMF. The Ghana cedi continued its downward slide, losing 19% of its value against the dollar in 2024. It had already in the previous year lost 27.8% of its value. In addition to the public debt, which amounts to a staggering 721 billion cedis, several state-owned enterprises are also in debt, including the ECG, which owes 68 billion Ghana cedis. Ghana Cocoa Board, the hope of cocoa farmers, is also highly indebted. Its balance sheet indicates a total debt of 32.5 billion Ghana cedis.
President Mahama says he is flabbergasted by what his administration is discovering about the mismanagement of funds by the previous government. In fact, it is so bad that he is calling Ghana a crime scene.
We all knew the economy was in crisis, but some of the things I'm discovering myself, it's been a criminal handling of our economy. And Ghana is a crime scene, actually. because how a government can have been so reckless, I cannot understand.
And this is all happening at a time where Ghana is facing its worst economic crisis in over a decade. Just last year, the country received a $3 billion bailout from the IMF. So, is the crime that Mahama is talking about the reason Ghana needed a bailout in the first place? Upon taking office, President Mahama established Operation Recover All Loot, or what has become known as OAL, an anti-corruption initiative with the primary objective of investigating and recovering misappropriated state assets to ensure accountability. Now, this initiative has become a central component of President Mahama's anti-corruption agenda, right? To really instill fear in perpetrators and to reclaim looted funds for national development. So here, I want you to take a look at the oral committee presenting their report on February 10th.
We want to conclude with some fascinating figures. The 36 cases that we have reviewed in detail, if we are successful in recoveries, we can retrieve as much as 20.49 billion United States dollars. 20.49 billion United States dollars. 36 cases, and that's from National Cathedral, PDS, SML. You have the GMPC salt pond decommissioning, and we decided that in this open session we will not go into greater detail, and so I want to be restrained.
Ooh, I wish you would. 20.49 billion US dollars.
There's a great deal of resources belonging to the taxpayers that can be retrieved. Then we've also done an estimate of the state capture, the lands. If we successfully ask people to pay conservative market value for the lands they have looted, again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars for the Ghanaian people. That's if we just ask people, those who were paying 42,000 cedis, 120,000 cedis, 160,000 cedis, to pay the fair market value. Those are lands that $500,000, $600,000, you will even struggle to get cantonments land at that fee.
So that number didn't even include lands, right? Which we know appreciate in value. They can recover an additional $702 million from stolen lands.
So very conservative estimates, we take the view that if people are asked to pay the real market value, this is how much we can retrieve. So in all, just a summary, the 36 cases, the high amount cases that we put together, and then the land loot, potentially we can raise about 21.19 billion United States dollars. And that is far more than what we have been chasing the IMF for and subjecting ourselves to all kinds of conditionalities.
21.1 billion. 21.1 billion stolen from the people. And what he said right there, right, that it is more than enough for us to be self-sufficient. We don't need to go to the IMF if we can recover this amount. Now, popular Ghanaian-born American comedian Michael Blackson found himself unfortunately caught up in the financial fallout of corruption and mismanagement under Ghana's previous MPP government. See, Blackson has built a beautiful school, a free school in Ghana with the goal of providing quality education to local children. How fantastic it is for a Ghanaian who lives in the diaspora, who lives in the U.S. to come home and say, I am going to invest my own funds to build a school for children in my country. He did it independently, raised funds all by himself without any government support. How amazing, right? Now, to fund the school's long-term operations, he invested $1.2 million in Ghana's Eurobonds, expecting the returns to help sustain the initiative. However, Him, along with many other investors, lost their investment. So here's a video of Michael Blackson himself sharing his experience and how everything went down. Let's take a look.
But recently, I read that Ghana robbed you for $1 million.
Yeah, actually 1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Well, I mean, robbery, I was probably obsessed, so I probably made it a little bit more harsh than what it was. So when I built this school, you know, I've been going home for the past, since when I went back home for the first time. Past 20 years, I've been going home. You know, I'll go home, and one thing I noticed a lot of the kids in the, you know, in the cities or even in the villages, they're all hanging around doing school hours. And I never understood that because, you know, from the time I came to America, the kids had to go to school because school's free. I felt so bad. I'm like, you know, when I would to get some money, I'm going to do something about it, you know. And then I eventually, you know, I got blessed enough. I mean, took like $500,000, built this beautiful campus, beautiful school, you know, with a house next to it in case I decided to go visit. I could just chill there. Built this nice thing in the village, you know. So I said to myself, how can I sustain this for life? So at that time, you know, they had Euro bonds, right? So Euro bonds, pretty much, the money would stay in the currency that you put it in. Whether it's euro, dollars, pounds, whatever you put it in, it would be in that currency, right? And the Euro bonds was paying, if I'm not mistaken, at least 9% interest rate, which is unheard of. You know, because I have bonds here in the States, and they're like 4.5%, 5%.
5%, yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, this is almost twice the amount. So I did my calculation on the school. I said, okay, this school's costing me about $9,000 to $10,000 a month, which is not bad at all to run a whole school.
Still a lot of money, though.
Still a lot of money.
Over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, 9 to 10.
After taxes and all that stuff. Yeah, I get it.
I said, every month the school's cost me $9,000 to $10,000 a month. How much would I need to put in bonds so that way I'm having this money come in? And I said, okay, $1 million. In fact, I ended up doing $1.2 because when I wired the money, I thought I only wired $750,000, but I already had wired $1 million, and I remember doing another $250,000 more. So I built the school. I said, okay, let me send this money. It's gonna bring me, you know, $10,000 a month. School be paid for. I invested $1.2 million in my country, and I'm like, okay, this is the land where I came from. This place made me who I am. What's wrong with giving them, you know? Well, if you add the school money, almost $2 million because I built the school. I said, what's wrong with me giving back to where I came from? It's only right.
Right.
Well, if I was an African, I would not be who I am today.
Right. But the investment funds were actually seized by Ghana.
But it wasn't seized. So, well, it felt like it was seized for it. So this is what happened. So we put the money up. I probably it made one payment. The payment stopped. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? I spoke to the lady at the bank. She said, they're just having a little issue. The government, in debt. They borrowed money from China, COVID, bunch of excuses, which is excuses to me.
They used your money to pay back their Chinese debt.
Yeah, they used my money to pay China.
That's crazy.
Crazy, unheard of.
Yeah.
But then I was, I spoke to one guy that worked for that particular regime. And I apologize for blaming my problem on Ghana. Ghana is not the problem. It's usually it's people that are in office are the problem. So the particular Ministry of Finance from the NPP regime, we have Democrat here and Republican. Here in Ghana, they have the big ones are NPP and NDC. So at that particular time, NPP was in office. So they are the one to be blamed for it, not Ghana. Ghana is a great country with great people. I apologize to my Ghana for what I said, but I'm blaming on the NPP and the Ministry of Finance and whoever or that regime. They decided to use our money to pay whatever debt it is, and then what they said to us? They said, thank you for helping us save the country.
Thank you for helping us save this country when $20 billion is sitting somewhere in someone's bank account.
We didn't have nothing for now. It's going on 2 years, no payment. So now how am I gonna go find new money to pay for the school? And now I'm funding out of my pocket. Now my money is on hold. And so I spoke to the bank lady. She said, Mike, they're gonna figure this out. Just a little issue, but everything should be okay. I said, okay, cool.
2 years later.
2 years later, then I hit up one of my guys that worked for that regime. I said, yo, man, what's up with your government? He's like, Mike, I'll get you your money back, but I'm gonna need 10%. Right? And trust me, I wish I would have did that, because a lot of times those guys have the power to do that.
Because you still haven't gotten your money back.
I
Still don't have it back.
I don't have it back. So I wish I would have did that, but I spoke to the lady at the bank, the bank manager. I said, listen, I got a guy that works. He said he get my money back, but he wants 10%. He said, Mike, if you don't need this money right away, don't lose $100,000 or $120,000. Just wait. They're gonna figure this out very soon. I said, okay. I took her word for it. I said, all right, man. I said, forget it. Then I spoke to a bigger guy. This guy is like cousins to the president. He's like the right-hand man. This guy probably make decisions in Ghana. I'm definitely not mentioning his name, right? I was like, what the fuck is up with your government? What's up with this money? He said, Mike, everything's gonna be okay. We about to figure it all out. He said, if all odds fail, at worst, whatever date each one puts to mature, you get your money back plus the interest. Which I didn't mind, because those are all like 3-4 year bond. If I know for a fact, and in fact, one of them was about to mature like this year, and then other ones probably like a year later. I didn't mind waiting a year or two to get all my money back with interest. He said, when it matures, at worst, you get your money back with interest. When he told me that, and I knew he ran shit, I felt comfortable. I said, okay, I'm good. 2 months prior to the election, they finally made a decision on the Euro bonds. They gave us 2 options: either take one, or they'll pick one for you. Right? The first option is your 3-4 year bond is now 11-year bond.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
And whatever amount of money you gave them, you're gonna lose 37% of it.
Should have gone for the 10%.
I should have gone for the 10%.
Yeah.
Right? You lose 37% of it. Now, if you give $1 million, you lost almost $400,000. Now your 9% interest rate that you had is now 5%. Those are the option one. Option two, you don't lose none of your money you give them. You keep your whole amount of money. But now, instead of your 3-4 year plan, is now 15 years before you get your money back, right? Instead of you getting your 9% interest rate, it's 1.5%. So pick which one you want.
Yeah, they're basically robbing you. Yeah.
So when that happened, I went on Twitter and I lit them motherfuckers up. And I became a hero because I had a voice. A lot of time people are afraid to speak. And my thing, if I was just some businessman just trying to make money, and I took a L, it wouldn't bother as much. But I mean, this money was to pay for a free school, and I'm doing the government's job.
So Blackson had a platform, right? He could use his voice. But what about the potentially hundreds or even thousands of people who lost their investments and didn't have a platform, didn't have anyone to go to? They couldn't speak up. What about them? Thankfully, that's not how the story ends. After seeing Blackson's interview, President Mahama reached out and directed his Minister of Finance to immediately settle payment to everyone who got caught up in this saga. And I just want to quickly read to you this letter that he issued directing his Minister of Finance to settle the payments to everyone who was involved. So he said, following a directive from President John Dramani Mahama, the Ministry of Finance has today, as of 17 February 2025, honored the payment in cash coupon of 6.81 billion Ghana cedis to all domestic debt exchange program bondholders. Government has also honored the payment in kind portion of 3.46 billion Ghana cedis deposited into the respective bondholder security accounts in line with the DDEP memorandum. Additionally, Ghana has also paid into the debt service recovery city account an amount of 9.7 billion Ghana cedi as a buffer for the 5th DDEP coupon that will fall due in July and August 2025. President Mahama is committed. Now, this is that part, right? President Mahama is committed to the government's honoring of all obligations under the DDEP. Through the 2025 budget statement, government will announce further measures that would help to restore market confidence in the economy, prioritize spending, and improve transparency and accountability in public finance. Ultimately, government seeks to restore fiscal prudence while ensuring value for every peso spent.
Please subscribe,
and despite
comment,
the challenging
and share for more
economy
content.
that was bequeathed by the previous administration, government is still determined to bring back a stable city, control spiraling inflation, and create jobs for the teeming youth of our country. How incredible! And so, in response to this, Blackson, of course, went on Twitter and let the whole world know what has happened, and he is jubilating. He is excited. He is so thankful. This is what he posted. He said, "Look at God. Look at God. This is a very great start for all bondholders. And as of today, I'm officially a member of the NDC party." And tagging John Mahama, you just put a smile on the faces of the kids at my free school. What a story. You know, I always say that in politics, you got to give credit when it's due. And so to President John Mahama, well done. This is just such a great start. And to everyone watching, Ghana is still open for business. Thank you guys again for watching. Again, remember, if you are enjoying this show, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, engage, and let's keep the conversation going, okay? Until next time, be well.
Thank you so much for watching. Kindly don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay safe till we meet in the next one. I love you, and it's bye for now.